Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to our channel. Today, we invite you into another emotionally charged chapter in the bittersweet saga of CEO James and the quiet yet resilient Diep. Their love story, though once filled with turmoil and tears, had seemingly found its peace. They had wed in an intimate, heartfelt ceremony and soon welcomed the newest member of their family, a plump, cheerful baby boy. The child was not just a bundle of joy but a living symbol of the love they had fought so hard to protect. From the moment their son was born, James was transformed. Each evening, he hurried home, not to a mansion, but to a warm embrace. He held his wife close, cradled his son, and relished a life made of small, irreplaceable moments. Even James's mother, who had once disapproved of Diep due to her modest background, now adored her daughter-in-law, moved by her sincerity and devotion. As for Diep, motherhood had not dulled her spirit. By day, she nurtured her son; by morning, she returned to the garden of her childhood, trimming the overgrowth as she sought tranquility in nature's quiet rhythm. And whenever she could spare a moment, she followed James to the office, learning from the sidelines. Though untrained in business, she was determined to one day become his confidant in both boardroom and life. But as every fairy tale risks turning bitter, so too did theirs. Lurking in the background was a shadow. A name that once faded into obscurity now returned with venomous intent: Trang. Trang wasn't merely an old acquaintance. She had once harbored silent dreams of taking Diep's place. To her, James was more than just a man. He was a gateway to prestige, power, and legacy. She viewed Diep as unworthy, a girl from a provincial town with no business pedigree. To Trang, Diep's place beside James was a fluke, one that she was determined to correct. The news of their wedding, and worse, their baby, was like a dagger to Trang's ego. Her envy boiled over. "Your happiness was never meant to last," she whispered to herself, as she stared at images of the happy family that should have been hers. Trang didn't just want James, she wanted Diep erased. She began her assault carefully. First with work-related meetings. Then with fabricated emergencies. She'd dress provocatively, yet just enough to pass for professional. She accidentally bumped into James at cafes and whispered suggestive comments veiled in concern. "You seem tired lately. I guess your wife hasn't had much time for you. After the baby and all." But Trang had misjudged James. He was no longer a man vulnerable to flattery or fantasy. He was a husband forged in fire, a man who had seen Diep give up everything to build their life together. Far from seeing Deep's exhaustion as a flaw, he viewed it as proof of her strength. And then came the day Trang overstepped. As she reached to casually touch James's arm after a meeting, he turned to her, his expression firm, his voice cold. Trang, I know exactly what you're doing. I am a married man. And I love my wife more than anything in this world. If you respect me, keep things strictly professional. I won't allow my wife to be harmed by someone else's blindness. The words struck Trang like a slap. Never before had she been rejected so directly. But instead of backing down, she grew darker, more vindictive. She brought in reinforcements, her mother. Trang's mother, once a friend of James's mother, disguised herself as a concerned elder. She paid a visit to the James estate and carefully seeded doubt. Isn't Deep a little ordinary? My daughter, Trang, could support James not just emotionally, but in business too. But James's mother, wise and protective, cut through the manipulation with elegant resolve. Deep may not come from wealth, she said, but she has something far rarer, a sincere heart. I once doubted her, but now, I would defend her like my own. The rejection humiliated both Trang and her mother. But Trang wasn't finished. She knew that to dismantle a fortress, one must strike at its foundation. And that foundation was Deep's trust. One quiet afternoon, while Deep tended to the garden, Trang appeared. Her smile was honeyed, but her words were poison. I just thought you deserved to know. During our last business trip, James and I spent time together. And it wasn't just business. Deep froze. Trang leaned in closer, whispering, he didn't tell you, because he didn't want to hurt you. But love, it doesn't lie. You should let him go. Let him be with someone who truly understands him, someone like me. Like a shattered porcelain vase, Deep's world cracked in silence. Her hands trembled, her heart quaked. Had the love she built her life on been nothing more than an illusion? She said nothing. She simply turned away, handed her baby to James's mother with the excuse, I need to rest, and quietly left the house. Back in her old modest home, surrounded by memories of a life before James, she broke. All her strength, all her hope, collapsed. Her sobs were silent, but her despair was deafening. When James returned and discovered her absence, panic struck. He searched the streets, the garden, her favorite bakery. Finally, guided by instinct, he arrived at her childhood home, and there she was. Huddled on the doorstep, tear-stained, hollow-eyed, the woman who once radiated light had become a shell. He rushed to her. "Deep. I'm so sorry. Did I really hurt you that deeply? I've been looking for you everywhere." Through tears, she asked the question that nearly broke him. "Why did you betray me?" And in that moment, with his arms around her, James gave her truth. "No, Deep. Not even once." Trang lied. "I rejected her. I love you, and only you." Her sobs returned, not from grief, but from release. The storm began to clear. Slowly, they talked. About doubt. About pain. About trust. And as the sun began to set, so too did their hurt. The next day, Deep returned home, James beside her. His mother embraced her with tears. "From now on," she said, "I'll stay home and care for our grandchild." You belong beside James, in the office, in life, in everything, and for the first time since the storm, Deep's heart felt whole. In the distance, Trang watched in bitter silence. Every plan unraveled, every scheme burned. But in her twisted heart, jealousy had turned to hatred. "If I can't have James," she muttered, "then none of them will live in peace." Quote,